Hi everyone. Welcome back to Woo Can Cook. My name is Wesley, and this is a show where we are slowly cooking our way through all of the food from my childhood. Today we're diving back into our series dedicated to South Asian Indian cuisine with a shot at a classic curry dish known as butter chicken. For those not familiar, butter chicken most prominently features a yogurt marinated piece of chicken, then simmered in a tomato and cream-based sauce for a rich, thick, and aromatic curry. Although butter chicken is often mistaken for its equally popular counterpart known as tikka masala, butter chicken stands apart for its silky smooth sauce base and, of course, its use of ghee, or clarified butter. Unlike the world of wok cooking that we more often swim in on this channel, South Asian Indian cuisine lives less in the world of high-heat flash cooking and more commonly in the universe of slow cooking, braising, and low and slow simmering heat. Although butter chicken does in fact feature a long and slow simmer, it also poses an interesting juxtaposition of the cuisine in that it most prominently features a tandoori chicken, which is iconically roasted at very high heats in a tandoor oven, which of course we don't have. So, we'll be diving into my very best attempt at reproducing the smoky roasted qualities of the tandoor clay oven here at home on a normal home range cooktop. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so diving right in, we're kicking things off here first a full 24 hours ahead of dinner time today with our chicken, since we want to give our marinade as much time as possible for it to work its magic. This is 4 medium chicken thighs that I'm large dicing, then tossing into my largest mixing bowl. Then going in first is a half cup of yogurt, of which we'll be leveraging its fermented qualities to tenderize our chicken today. Then next are my dried and ground spices. This is a half teaspoon each of turmeric, cumin, and coriander powder going in, followed by a full tablespoon each of chili powder, garam masala, garlic powder, and ginger powder. We're mixing this all up to combine, then covering and setting aside to marinate for a minimum of 4 hours or ideally overnight. Moving on here next, it's a full 24 hours later, and I'm getting to work on the remainder of my butter chicken, which would essentially be our tomato-based braising sauce. Butter chicken is iconically known for its silky smooth and creamy sauce, so we'll be pureeing our sauce in a food processor, then straining through a fine mesh sieve to achieve the smoothest possible results today. So, up first here is 4 cloves of garlic that I'm crushing and peeling, then tossing straight into our food processor, followed by 1 inch or about 1 tablespoon of ginger, peeled as well. Then next, this is 2 green serrano chilies, destemmed and heading straight into our processor as well, followed by an optional 1/4 cup of cashews to help us get a nice thick sauce. I'm giving these solids an initial blitz in the processor first, then setting aside for a moment while we weigh out 14 ounces of canned Roma tomatoes. Now, a quick side note, if you're like me and you struggle to find use for leftover canned tomatoes, I might recommend doubling this recipe so that you may make use of the full 28-ounce can that your tomatoes are almost certainly canned in. Otherwise, these leftover tomatoes will almost definitely head into the trash for me. In any case, I'm rounding this out with about a 1/4 cup of water to help our processor get going, followed next by our dry spices. This is a single tablespoon of garam masala and chili powder to start, followed by a half teaspoon each of cumin and coriander powder. Then I'm rounding this all out with a tablespoon of brown sugar for a touch of sweetness, and we're using our food processor to puree this all into a nice smooth sauce. Ooh. Last up, before we head over to the stove, I'm combining some dry whole spices to round out our aromatics today. This is a single stick of cinnamon that I'm breaking up into pieces, followed by about 3 to 4 cardamom pods and a single teaspoon of clove. Then over on the stove, I'm adding all of my spices to a dry wok over medium-low heat so that we may dry toast these for about 3 to 5 minutes until nice and fragrant, after which we're removing to some awaiting cheesecloth so that we may tie these up into a nice spice pouch to fish out from our curry later on. Back over on the stove, now before everyone freaks out, we're getting into the world of weird fusion-y techniques today as we dive into our tandoori chicken created without a tandoor oven. This, of course, is tricky because we're essentially trying to recreate the smoky roasted qualities that come from cooking chicken in a clay oven, but without clay or oven. To do this, my favorite solution for reproducing smoky qualities in a dish has always been a wok sear, wherein the wok hay from the flame imparts a nice smoky finish to our proteins. Is this authentic or traditional? No, obviously not, but I think it works pretty well though. So now that that's out of the way, I've got my wok heating up over medium heat here, then I'm adding about 3 to 4 tablespoons of ghee and, as always, long yao for that nice non-stick surface. Then we're adding our chicken to the wok about 20 pieces at a time, searing undisturbed for 2 minutes, then bringing the heat up to high and tossing with the wok tilted downward towards the open flame for some nice wok hay action. Ghee, also known as clarified butter, is butter that has been melted, clarified, then re-solidified. Though ghee and butter are often used interchangeably, unlike butter, ghee, thanks to its clarified qualities, will not burn at high heats, meaning that we can use it in a wok sear with wok hay without the risk of burning the butter. Although I am almost always a fan of subbing ghee with butter whenever you need to, because obviously butter is a lot easier to find, you definitely do not want to do this in today's case, or else that butter will burn in the wok. Once all of our chicken is cooked up, I'm adding everything back to the wok as promised, passing our sauce puree through a fine mesh sieve as we do so. This is going to filter out all of the pulp and solids left behind, yielding for us this nice, smooth and thick curry sauce. I'm rounding this all out with what ended up being a full cup of heavy cream, reserving about 2 to 3 tablespoons to dress our final dish. Then next, here's my spice bag going in, then we're letting this all simmer for a minimum of 30 minutes or up to 2 hours. Once our curry is ready to serve and fully reduced, I'm seasoning with a pinch of kosher salt to taste. Finally, we're serving this all over rice, finishing with our reserved heavy cream, and we're ready to eat. Okay, so for those following along with this series, we did make a chicken tikka masala a few months back, which, contrary to popular consensus, I actually think is a pretty wildly different dish once you break it down. While the two dishes do share commonalities in that they both prominently feature a tandoori chicken that has been braised in a tomato and cream-based sauce, their similarities pretty much stop there. Apart from their obviously different cultural origins, tikka masala having British origins and butter chicken originating from Delhi, I think the texture of butter chicken is pretty wildly different too. The sauce is smoother and creamier due to the pureeing and filtering through a sieve, and of course the use of ghee also compounds for a thicker and much more rich sauce too. To pair with this, on that note, I'll also mention that I'm pretty happy with our results from the use of our wok technique to recreate the smokiness of a tandoori chicken, most especially because I think ghee might be my new favorite high heat cooking fat. Honestly, if you're not wok cooking in ghee, you're really missing out. Okay, so that's it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you give this one a shot. For those who are new to the channel, this one is part of a new series that we've been doing that's dedicated to South Asian Indian cuisine, so definitely check out that series next if you haven't yet because there's a lot of these. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, be nice interneters, and I'll see you soon.